There is a natural flow to giving a speech in public, and taking appropriate pauses is incredibly important to that flow, whether you believe it or not. But many of my students tell me they're not sure how to pause at the right time or for the right reasons. If you may be lost on how to do this, you're certainly not alone. Hi, I'm Yannick from speakandconquer.com, and I have compiled a list of 13 effective tips on how to make pauses in a speech and how to incorporate pauses into your presentations. So, if you're interested, then jump in. Number 1. Pause when it's time to switch. The most common times when a speaker might want to add a brief pause are at the end of a paragraph, at the end of a sentence, or when changing the topic. This is to help transition from one thing to another smoothly and in a professional manner. It will also keep your audience listening for what's to come next. At the end of a paragraph, it is common to give a short pause. This is even true for the end of a sentence sometimes. However, you don't want to do it for every single sentence, because you could start to confuse your audience. Be discerning about which sentences are important enough to warrant a brief pause. Giving a brief pause is especially important when you are switching from one topic to the next. If you start a new topic too soon, your audience may be confused about the information you're presenting and how it fits to each topic presented. Number 2. To replace a filler word. When you are having a friendly conversation, you may use a lot of filler words like and without even realizing it. Like you, I know that I use these words almost every day, but when you are on stage, these common fillers seem less appropriate for a professional speech. If there are places in your speech where you would typically feel like inserting like, or other filler words, try replacing it with a brief pause instead. Number 3. Pausing for emphasis. Sometimes placing emphasis on a specific keyword or sentence is going to be essential to what you have to say. After all, there are certain points that you want to make while you are speaking. Some things are more important than others. In this case, pausing for emphasis may be a good strategy to communicate your point to your audience. And after the pause is over, restate your point. This will create a lasting impact. It will also give your audience time to deeply reflect on what you have just said. Number 4. Maybe you lost your spot. Human beings are hardly perfect, and even the most seasoned speakers will often lose their spot. And since you don't want to seem unprofessional to your audience, you may want to consider taking a pause during this time. After all, what does it look like if you start to stutter and fumble around because you forgot what you were going to say? If a pause still doesn't help you remember what you were going to say, regain yourself with confidence, restate your main point, and then take a few questions from the audience. Number 5. Hypothetical questions. It is typical for speakers to pause after giving a hypothetical question to their audience. This is for questions that they don't expect them to call out an answer to. You may not be expecting your audience to actually answer a question, but when you want them to think about the question you've provided. Therefore, you pause for a moment. This allows your audience members to reflect on the relevance of the question and what their hypothetical answer might be. Number 6. Beginning with a pause. Should you start your speech with a pause? Yes, because depending on your topic, this could help effectively set the right mood for you and your audience. Assume a confident stance and smile politely to the audience. This pause will signal to them that you are ready to begin your presentation, and it will also be likely to effectively capture their attention. Please note that starting with a pause may be ineffective if you are giving a video or PowerPoint presentation. Number 7. It's okay to plan your pauses. When you are planning out your speech, try to write down your pauses on your note cards. And when you are practicing, take the time to rehearse pausing just like you would any other part of your speech. Practice makes everything perfect. And when you effectively know how to pause during rehearsal, you'll be able to do it more confidently on stage. Number 8. Thinking of an answer. Many times when you are giving a speech, you may be taking questions from your audience members. It is good to prepare for the kinds of questions you may be asked during this timer. But what happens when you get a question that you were completely unprepared for? This is definitely the right time for a pause. After all, you want to give thought to the question that was asked. If you answer too quickly, you may appear less than genuine or authentic to your audience members. They want to see that you are taking a moment to think of a good response. This tactic will help your audience respect you. Number 9. Pausing for a joke punchline. If you are telling a joke during your presentation, a properly timed pause is essential. It is especially important for you to pause when you are delivering the punchline of a joke. To achieve this, make sure you are pausing right before delivering the punchline. This is important because your audience needs to clearly know that what you're saying is a joke. Without the pause, they may miss the indication that they're supposed to laugh. And nothing is more awkward than telling a joke on stage and then having the audience react with confused silence. Number 10. Moving to a new slide. This tip is mostly for speakers who are giving a PowerPoint or similar slide presentation. When you go from one slide to the next, you may want to take a pause. There are many reasons why this is a good idea. The biggest reason is that it gives the audience enough time to observe the slide and take in all the details before you begin speaking. Number 11. Pause to keep from talking too fast. You might be very educated and excited about a topic you're presenting. That is good, but this sometimes may cause speakers to talk very fast. And when you are talking too fast, you risk losing your audience's ability to keep up. Even worse, they may stop paying attention altogether. Therefore, effectively using a pause to help slow you down may be appropriate. Number 12. Let the audience finish applauding or laughing. Is your audience still laughing after a particularly hilarious joke you told? Or maybe they are still applauding wildly after something inspirational you said. You don't want to be rude in either of these cases. After all, you want them to laugh at your jokes, and you certainly want them to give you applause. Number 13. Pause to deal with the unexpected. You simply can't plan for everything. Maybe you forgot a specific note card, or you completely forgot what you were talking about. Or maybe something has happened in the room or audience that diverts everyone's attention. It's best to pause for a brief moment of time to deal with this situation. Or maybe the unexpected is a sudden shock of nervousness or stage fright. Take a brief moment to pause, take a sip of water if you can, and collect yourself. If you play it off right, nobody will even know that anything is wrong. Pausing is healthy, it's natural, and don't feel guilty if you need to stop to take a few seconds to regain your confidence. Bonus tip. I also highly recommend recording both your live speeches and your rehearsals. Watch these later and take note of how many times you use filler words. You could also get creative with this and write down things you say that are likely to lead to you using filler words. So, to sum up, can you think of any other effective ways of how to make speech pauses? If you can, feel free to leave them in the comments in order to continue the discussion. Now, if you found this video helpful, then press thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, before you go, take a look at the next video you see on the screen right now. Meanwhile, take care.